medical school experience was actually really good. How to know if medicine is for you. There were some days during med school where I felt like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? There's obviously moments where you feel like you just want to drop out. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Helena and I'm a foundation year 2 doctor working in the UK, live in London, in my 20s. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm actually early for work and I decided to film this video quickly before I head to work. And it's actually a question that was left on my YouTube channel, and it was actually a lovely question, so it kind of brought the idea to do this video. I'll leave the comment here, so shout out to you for leaving a comment. So it says, "Hey Helena, love your videos so much, you're so inspiring and such a role model." That is actually very sweet, thank you so much. And it says, "Could you do a video on how you know if medicine is for you, what subjects you must take, what skills and opportunities to put on your application to make you stand out from the crowd, and also a brief summary of your med school experience, all UK based if possible. Keep going with the amazing content and look forward to seeing more videos." So thank you so much for this question. So there's a lot in one, so I have to break it down. First thing is, thank you so much for watching my videos and also finding it inspiring and seen as a role model. I don't believe I'm a role model, but the fact that you see me as a role model, I really do appreciate it. So the first part of the question is how to know if medicine is for you. So this is actually a difficult one to answer because everybody will have different reasons why they believe medicine is for them. And you'd hear stories from people say they've always loved medicine, or they've always known from a young age they want to be a doctor. Cliche, I guess, but sometimes that's actually true. Others might say they like to help, but medicine is also not the only field where you can help. Some people might enjoy science or enjoy the fact that medicine is forever evolving, so there's always new changes, it's always improving, etc. There's always research and all that good stuff. So I think this is very difficult to answer. It's not a straightforward answer. Everyone has their own personal reasons, and sometimes it's difficult to know whether it's actually for you. So I've seen obviously cases of people who believe medicine is for them, and they've gone to med school and then they finish, they start working as a doctor and then find out that actually medicine is not for them. For me, I had different reasons. So I've known that I wanted to be a doctor from a young age. I've always loved the sciences. I've always drawn towards the science subject and healthcare in general. And also I've had several experiences in terms of like work experience. Then I've picked out qualities and skills in these various jobs that have drawn me towards medicine. So for example, I've volunteered in the hospital, I've done work experience in the hospital, I've even done work experience in other places such as like a charity shop. So I've always been drawn towards the healthcare side. I used to join the St. John ambulance team to volunteer. I used to work around children with autism in a play group. So there were so many things that I've done leading me towards this. So it's really hard to answer this question, but I think for you, the question to put back is, if you are interested in medicine, maybe write down all the pros and also all the cons and reflect on it. So evaluate whether these are justifiable reasons of why you should do medicine. I would personally suggest maybe doing work experience if possible, and this can be in any kind of healthcare settings. Specifically, I think when you're mixed with a multidisciplinary team, so not even just doctors, but doctors, nurses, physios, OTs, pharmacists, HCAs, I feel like that's a realistic approach on, because medicine, obviously you're working with other doctors, but you're actually working with a wide range of teams. So I think getting that kind of approach makes a lot of sense. So that's how I'll answer that question. The next part was what subjects you must take. When I did medicine, I only needed 2 sciences, which were either biology, chemistry, physics, and also you could do maths. So I just needed 2 of them, which was good enough. But I don't know how the requirements are now. The typical ones you see is people do biology, chemistry, and physics, or they do biology, chemistry, and maths. So they have at least 2 sciences and then pick maths alongside. But in my case, so my A levels, I did biology, chemistry, psychology, and then I did philosophy and ethics. But then, so we had AS, which is the first year of sixth form, because I went to sixth form. And so I did all the 4 subjects. And then when I got to the second level of sixth form, I then dropped psychology and continued with biology, chemistry, and philosophy and ethics. So those are the subjects I took. But I think it should be similar. I think the best thing that you can do is any university you're applying for, check the requirements first and apply to the universities that you meet the requirements. It just avoids getting rejection, and also so you don't waste your option. I always say you have to be smart in terms of where you apply and making sure you meet the requirements. And so that's to answer that question. So what skills and opportunity to put on your application to make you stand out of the crowd? Different types of experience you can do. And to stand out, that's actually very key as well. Most people would have similar experiences, such as like hospital experiences, voluntary work, etc. But I think what makes you stand out is not even the experience itself. I think it's how you talk about it, and also what you learn from it, how you reflect on it, and also the skills that you can bring out from it. So for example, you can do a hospital-based work experience, but if you're not able to really talk about what you learned from it, or what you grasped from it, or what experience, transferable like skills that you developed from this work experience, it doesn't actually make your application great. So you can do the best work experience at the most, I don't know, amazing hospital in the world, but just by stating it doesn't make you stand out. It's really about how you sell yourself, and also how you, well, I wouldn't use the word how you sell yourself, but it's how you deliver it really, and the transferable skills that you've actually learned from the experience. So key ones are always like communication skills, teamwork, leadership skills. These are things you need to be able to grasp. Resilience, adaptability. So adapting to a new environment is definitely something you'd always be learning in medicine. What were you involved in, and how did you also go out of your way to get further experience? So sometimes it's actually even beyond what you do in the curriculum. What do you do outside the curriculum? So any extracurricular. And it's always good to always involve other things that's also non-academic. So obviously you need to add academic part. So typically personal statement will have like some form of introduction, and then talking about your academics experiences, and you know, for example, if you've got a degree before, or if you're doing your A levels, or you're in college, what subjects you're doing, etc. Then some form of work experience, whether it's voluntary and whether you're working, you know, you include that somewhere. And also mention some skills that you've learned. And then you'd also need this part where you talk about extracurriculum. So this could be a hobby, whether it's sports such as like swimming, if you play tennis, or if you've, I don't know, conducted like a teaching program. But you need some form of section where you're talking about what you do outside of your day-to-day. For example, as a college student, or if you're a uni student, or you're about to be a graduate, but you'll go through a graduate entry route, you need to include that. And then you'd have like a final paragraph, like a conclusion, just summarizing everything very nicely. So hopefully that makes sense. Next thing is briefly talking about my medical school experience. My medical school experience was actually really good. I learned a lot. I have a very close friend that I met from uni, and we're really good friends still. I learned how to adapt to new environments. I also was on an undergraduate course, and if you don't, I applied as a graduate. So I already did my biomedical science degree and went back to school. So went back to med school. So you can imagine it was a lot to leave. Oh, and also I had a full-time job at the time. So you can imagine it was a huge adjustment for me. 5 years is a long time to do a degree, and especially after doing a degree that was already 3 years. So it took a lot. It took a lot of resilience. It was overall a good experience. I don't regret going back to medical school. I'm glad I did it. I know things are quite tough right now being a doctor in the UK, especially working in the NHS, but I think I'm still glad that I did medicine. It's just now trying to figure out what's next, really. Med school taught me a lot about my learning style, like how I learn, what type of style was adaptable for myself. I learned a lot about research to work as a group, because we had group projects from anatomy to physiology to microbiology. It was so broad. There's many fields available, and it's just finding what fits for you. But I really enjoyed my experience. There were some days during med school where I felt like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? There's obviously moments where you feel like you just want to drop out. I had those moments, I won't even lie. I think that moment for me was my 4th year of med school. I found my 4th year of med school most challenging year, actually. If I'm being very honest, the most challenging year was my 4th year of medical school. It was the year where we had a lot going on. So you'd have from dissertation to a lot of, the way the curriculum was, we had a lot of subspecialties. So we had, like, for example, neurology, ophthalmology, pediatrics, gynae, GP, surgery, all in one year. And these modules are very short modules, but the information that you will learn in a short period of time, it's a lot. So you can easily fall into the route of being burnt out. But then this is where good network of friends, good study style, starting revision early, having good time management. Oh my gosh. Time management was key in 4th year for me, but even throughout med school. So there's a lot of things that I learned through my experience. But if you want to know more, I think I have some vlogs where I've talked about my day in my life, so it might be worth watching some of them as well. But if you want more information about this, I will go into depth. So thank you so much for this question. I really appreciate it. I hope if you are applying for medical school, I wish you the best of luck, and I'll see you guys in my next video, and have a lovely day. Bye guys.